I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you want to grab your seat, we'll start the program. Good evening. I'm Brett Beckton, Dean of the College of Business and Economic Development at Southern Miss, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the second annual Golden Idea Pitch Competition. The Golden Idea Pitch Competition is a Shark Tank style event that provides a platform for budding entrepreneurs to pitch their ideas for innovative products or services to a panel of judges who are experienced entrepreneurs, investors, or business professionals. We had a number of great ideas submitted this year, and the finalists have worked very hard to refine their pitches, so you're in for a treat tonight. Also, we'll present our Entrepreneur of the Year Award winner. The Entrepreneur of the Year was created by the College of Business and the Business Advisory Council to recognize and celebrate successful entrepreneurs and expose our students, faculty, and staff to businessmen and women who have distinguished themselves in their entrepreneurial endeavors. Past winners have included Ross Perot, David Orrick, and Chuck Sienna, just to name a few. This year's winner, Mr. Rodney Richardson, is a tremendous addition to this list of successful entrepreneurs. And you'll learn a little bit more about him later in the program. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to James Wilcox so we can begin our program. Welcome again and enjoy yourselves.
Good evening. So over the past several weeks, the students you're about to meet have been hand-selected and their pitches refined through three separate rounds. This is their fourth and final round. Tonight we cheer on the final five as they compete for cash prizes, bragging rights, and a pretty sweet addition to their LinkedIn profiles. This night was chosen specifically to coincide with Global Entrepreneurship Week. Over 40,000 events, 180 countries are celebrating this week the entrepreneurial spirit and this pathway. So as we get started, let's take a moment to recognize the individuals who, despite this year's challenges and setbacks, have helped make tonight's celebration a reality. So first, all the students who submitted their ideas. We understand it takes guts, it takes initiative, and you make us proud. And second, to everyone working behind the scenes, and specifically to Dr. Arielle Nguyen, who couldn't be with us tonight as she was out sick, and hopefully she's at home watching the live stream. To Curtis Mathern, Bailey Harris over here. We've got John Ryan Fennell, down here running everything for us, making sure tonight works out right. Patrick Browning, and finally to Dr. Brett Beckton, who in his first weeks in office here at Southern Miss had the vision and drive to launch last year's pilot Golden Idea competition and make this year a reality as well. So finally, thank you to our judges for so enthusiastically agreeing to be here with us tonight, investing their time and their experience-based insight with us. So thank you very much for being here tonight. It's with great pleasure that I introduce our first presenter of the night, Ms. Kelly Jackson, a senior public health policy and administration major with minors in both business administration and Spanish. Kelly.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kelly Jackson, and I'm a public health major from Slidell, Louisiana. And today I want to talk to you about a problem called the last mile. The last mile is a problem that agricultural products have in making it efficiently to market, meaning that they may make it to the back of a delivery truck, but not to your kitchen table. That's why I came up with an idea for an app called the Farmer's Buggy. So what the Farmer's Buggy app does is it quickly it simplifies the supply chain between farmers and consumers, and it also connects farmers to their local communities. So for example, farmers, the average age of a farmer is actually 57 years old. So what we also do is a little bit of brand management as well. We connect them to social media. And the goal of the Farmer's Buggy app is twofold. The first of which is to help give consumers more informed options to decide about what produce is out there and how that compares to larger retailers. Secondly, the Farmer's Buggy app connects farmers to a younger group of consumers, people who want to approach the food system differently. Furthermore, the Farmer's Buggy app not only could solve this problem of the last mile, but it can also help improve the health of our state, especially when it comes to food insecurity in Mississippi, which is prevalent throughout the Mississippi Delta. It can also help improve, like I said, the health of Mississippi as far as obesity is concerned, which Mississippi currently ranks second in the nation for obesity. Therefore, through the Farmer's Buggy app, we need to rethink the way that we produce, process, and purchase food, because the health of Mississippi cannot wait. An investment in the future of the Farmer's Buggy app is an investment in the future of Mississippi. Thank you so much. And I'll take any kind of questions.
You closed talking about an investment in your company, so what would the investment look like? What are you contemplating for investment, and what would an investor get in return?
I would say probably an investment in this company, specifically the app. The most expensive part is going to be the design of the app, depending on the complexity and functionality, which that can sometimes range to about $20,000. So I would probably ask for about $75,000 to start with, just to ensure that I'm getting the most user-friendly app possible, and that I'm able to kind of cover the cost of going to just different farmers locally in Mississippi, because it's going to be a big process of having to work closely with the farmers in the beginning, and then a little more turnkey later on.
Do you see Farmer's Buggy partnering with anyone, and if so, who?
I definitely think Farmer's Buggy could partner with different organizations. One of those I feel like could probably be food preparation and delivery services. I feel like those have definitely been a little bit of an uptick with coronavirus, but to have those products come from, rather than miles away, they could come from literally 10 miles away if you don't want to get out and about in the city. So I feel like that is an option that we would be willing to explore as well.
First of all, thank you for going first. We all know that that's hard.
Yes,
Me
thank you. I
especially.
appreciate it.
We completely feel where you are on that. My question is about putting together last mile with your app.
Yeah.
Walk me through, once again, how this is going to work. You've got seasonal produce. You have it with, as you talked about in your profile, not necessarily digital natives working with that app and so on, and then connecting it with your target market is digital territory. How's it going to connect, and how's it going to get where it needs to go?
So pretty much with the Farmer's Buggy, we would have representatives that would go and meet with the farmers individually and kind of present those 3 different plans of farm partnership, the bronze, silver, and gold plans. And depending on how much they're willing to spend, from there we would be the ones who are taking the photos of their products, updating it regularly, and for that you just need people and consultants who are willing to collaborate with the farmers, especially over the phone rather than like through email, just to be present enough for them in the beginning to get them well established, as well as running their social media for different respects. And for that we can even boost it to certain geographic cities. So if I know that there's a farmer's market happening in Laurel, I can boost that just to the Laurel radius in order to make sure that those farmers get the exposure that they need.
Okay. And another, is it okay if I ask another question before you'll go back? Another question is, how many artisanal farmers like this are you aspiring to connect?
Well, depending, for example, at the Hattiesburg Farmers Market, there's typically, I'm a frequent visitor of it, there's typically about like maybe 10 to 12 farmers just at that little small one. But if I could do it to where it was just the major cities of Mississippi, like Hattiesburg, Jackson, Meridian area, things like that, I think would be the goal, and depending on the success rate of it, I would be willing to branch out further.
So how do you monetize this?
So, in order to download the app, it is free, but then in order to have access to the app for long term, to be able to see all the different product offerings and the updates that come with it, it would be a $2.99 a month charge. And then from there, you're also profiting off of the farmers, depending on how much involvement that they want as far as brand management services. And then I would also plan to do ads on the app, just for different organizations or companies as well.
You said profiting off of the farmer, so what do you mean? Like, you talking about a commission, revenue share?
So we kind of act a little bit as like a brokerage firm. So in order, if they want just their basic products listed, not necessarily listed first, not overly highlighted, they would be a bronze member. So they would pay $25 a month to keep us on as a retainer service. Now, if they want the top-notch stuff where we're taking videos of the farmers, you know, they share a little bit more about how they got into the farming industry, that would be about $75 a month to keep us on retainer for that.
So then based off $2.99 per month plus $25 per month, how many farmers do you need to break even?
Oh, I don't know the question at this time, just because I don't know how much the app would cost, because it all depends on the functionality and the complexity of that. So I don't have hard and fast numbers for that.
So do you see Farmers Buggy only being limited to serving at farmers markets, or would you suggest or see in the future that they could deliver straight to people's homes?
So for coronavirus, I definitely think that is something that I would be willing to explore, because obviously the major retailers like Walmart, Kroger have all of those personal shopping aspects where you can just select what's on your cart and put it in there. And that's definitely something that we would want to branch out into, which we would probably tack on an additional fee, obviously, for compiling that and delivery.
I'm a huge fan of this idea.
Thank you.
Okay, so I know I look just like a farmer to everyone in this room, but I want to hear how you or your sales representative would approach a farmer for their buy-in on this product.
Well, I think the first place that we would approach them would be the place that they would be most comfortable in, which would be the farmer's market itself. So I would really want to pull representatives and consultants who are from these areas that I'm trying to target, who are frequent farmer's market visitors, are supportive of shopping local and things like that. So I would definitely pull from those people, and then just starting initially with like just a little bit of a business card, as well as just saying like, hey, is there any way that we can set up a meeting? I would love to be able to get your products and your story more out to your community.
Talk to us a little bit about the onboarding process, because you're saying $75K for app development, and you got ancillary SG&A, so probably $150K easy just to be able to get the company, not just the product, up and running. So if you're $150K-ish to get everything up and running, that means you gotta have thousands of farmers in order to be able to break even at a $2.99 price point. So how are you gonna onboard that many people before you go bankrupt?
I would hope that I would be able to reach enough farmers within the area, as well as develop enough users for just like, since it's only $2.99 to keep on retainer. I know for me, sometimes things get lost where I might be on an auto draft charge, and you would forget about that. But just to be able to get enough users within every area, to even if they're not purchasing product at these places every week, at least they're still being able to see what is available and to make informed decisions about that. Public health major by trade, with a business minor, so this has definitely been a very interesting and new experience for sure.
I think we have time for one more question if you have it.
I hope you understand the spirit with which these questions are asked, because once again, we're all about entrepreneurs. I'm in Camp Chris. I'm having a difficult time with the monetization. I see a need for another revenue stream at least. What is that gonna be?
I mean, would have the advertisement aspect of it, but other than as far as users and the farm partners, I don't think I have an idea of what that would look like at this time.
All right. Kelly, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
presentation.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
John, for your questions. Okay, coming in the second slot, next we have Avery Halbus, the junior entrepreneurship major, and his company is King of the Twos Academy.
Hi, my name is Avery Hodges. I'm a junior here at the University of Mississippi. I also play on the football team here. I'm a linebacker. And 4% of the youth of the Gen Z will know about Jesus Christ. 4%. That means 96% that don't know about him, that don't know about his blessings, that don't know about how they were raised, that don't know about how many blessings they can do in their life. And that's the first thing that my company will do is teach them faith-based leadership skills. I grew up in a small town in northern Wisconsin, and I bet on myself. I walked on to junior college to chase a dream, and there I was told that I was too small, too short, too this and too that, and I was classified as king of the twos. But with great mentorship, with great leadership from my parents, coaches, my siblings, my fiance, and others, I was able to overcome the obstacles and be a Division I athlete here at the University of Mississippi. I was a captain on my high school team, I was a captain on my junior college team, and now I'm a captain here, starting linebacker here for the University of Mississippi Golden Eagles. I want to be that leadership and that help for those kids that are in need of help, the kids that have a bad home life, the kids that are told that they're too small, the kids that are going down the wrong path of drugs and alcohol. I want to be that help. And that's my passion. My passion is to help them. I lived that route. I lived it. So I can help them. I'm a nonprofit organization that can go out there and help these kids. Thank you so much.
So a nonprofit has bills too, and I'm curious about how you're gonna cover your overhead. Like, talk to me about your donation strategy and how you plan on being able to keep the lights on.
Yes, sir. We're going to partner with local leaders and mentors in high schools, and we'll be taking donations, and we'll also be selling like apparel to bring in a little extra cost. We'll have a lot of volunteers, so we won't have paid workers. So that's a few of them. We also have a retreat where a lot of these kids can come. It's like a camp that we teach like just the basics of everything. So that'll be like a few of our revenues that are coming in.
I was wondering where the name came from in listening to that. I love that.
Thank you.
So my question is, how do you plan to recruit these role models, and what will their training be for these mentors and role models?
Yeah, so I've talked to a lot of my teammates here, and also I'm a big part of my church here in Hattiesburg for Venture, and a lot of those people would be willing to help gladly. I feel like a lot of people want to create leaders of America that we desperately need. So getting volunteers won't really be a problem from its coaches, its teammates, my siblings. I've talked to a lot of people about this business, and a lot of them say that they're gonna help me. But to answer the second question, it's gonna be a program that we partner with like local high schools and counselors that have an eye out for these kids that are heading on the wrong path, because they can see it clear it. They can see these guys that are heading down the wrong path, that need help, and we're gonna come in, and we're gonna have camps, and we're also going to like here after practices we have worship on every Wednesday, and I see more and more kids coming because God changes lives. He really does. So that's another way we're gonna have worship after practices and Sundays, and you know our staff and everything will be around all these kids a lot, because that's our passion, to help these kids.
Okay, I admire this project, and I've been involved with a number of them. Positive Attitude Reaches Kids, that's a famous one that has now been retired in Arkansas. First Tee is a similar business model to this. I'm pretty confident that you're aware of those and others that halo around this. Principal dramatic question for you with the wonderful, grandiose, and doable model you have here. What happens when the student wants and the athlete wants the guidance, the trampoline and jet fuel of this organization, but does not care for Christian theology?
Yeah. Not everyone has to believe in our Christian-based stuff, but our idea is to get them back on the road to success. So not everything is going to be faith-based. We're going to teach basic leadership skills that they need in everyday life. You know, like I came here, and with all my great mentorship and leadership, you know, everything's not about faith, and I was able to come in here, and I came in here in January, and I was captain on this team already. That doesn't happen very often, but I was able to do that because of the leadership skills. Just by hard work and kind of that nose to grindstone type attitude, that's what we'll instill in these people.
So I get the passion, and I think I get the vision. I don't understand the strategy at all. So who is your target demographic? And if it's mentorship and leadership, what are you mentoring them on? And what are you helping them become able to do? I don't understand that part.
Okay. We are targeting high school athletes, okay? Because I believe that high school is a very critical point in everybody's lives. You know, you can either go down the road to a negative life almost, and get into drugs and alcohol, but you can also get on that success train and get onto, you know, it goes then college and then family. So what we wanted to do is to get into these athletes' lives and to really just teach them just basic leadership skills, like hard work. And then in high school, it's just getting your homework done. So we will really be in these it's students then athletes. So we're going to really help them with their academics first, because you don't have athletics forever. You don't. And I think that's a huge part of it is being a student first. I'm a 3.9 student here, and that's a passion about mine. You know, I didn't come here just because of football. I came here because of the academics. So that's another thing we're going to do is just teach them skills, getting their homework done, doing good on the ACT, applying to colleges, and things like that to move them forward.
Okay, so then I'm an at-risk youth, or I'm a marginally performing high school student, so I would qualify as your demographic. So, okay, makes sense. Now I'm part of the program. Who am I getting paired with someone? Is this like a big brother kind of thing? Like,
Yeah.
Walk me through what the mentorship means.
Yeah. So like, we would have volunteers. Like all of my teammates will be paired with like a specific student to monitor them and maybe take them out to eat, or just to teach them like basic skills. So it wouldn't be like a big old group with one person. It'd be like a specific person with that one kid and mentoring them, and like just advising them with their academics and their athletic careers.
Do you have plans for diversity in this group? I hear that you mentioned your football team as leaders, but what about females?
Yeah, definitely. you know, I think that's a huge part of it is we're not just going after, you know, males, because we need to get into everybody's lives, and obviously the football team is an easy target because I play on the football team, but I also am part of the FCA group here, and it has women's basketball, women's tennis, women's golf, and they would all be willing to help in any women's sport possible.
Is this something that you're currently doing right now? Because it sounds like there's not really any type of major cost to get it up and going. It's mainly just pairing students with college athletes right now. So is this something that's in principle, or is it something that's currently in practice?
Currently in practice.
Oh, really? So would you mind speaking to that? Like, what's that experience been like so far?
Well, it's just me right now, I'm just mentoring kids from back home, and it's kind of tough when I'm down here. But in the summers, I would help kids out with you know, getting workouts in. I would be at speed training at high school events. So right now it's just me, but when we really get this thing off and running, it's going to be a lot of these guys helping me out.
A lot of the business models, and this is what we live with, it may sound too antiseptic when we're thinking about something that's this spiritual and this passion of yours. A lot have a signature individual, a signature athlete to drive this model. Why or why not would you do that?
Can you repeat the question?
One more time. Why would you or would you not choose an iconic or signature athlete to, needless to say, garner money and to drive this business model further, faster?
Yeah. Like, are you talking about like trying to get with a bigger, like more influential athlete?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely would be a help. To get with an athlete that is someone that would model themselves off of. That would be kind of tough for me because I personally don't know many star athletes. But just some here, we could really, our coaches have a lot of contacts. They've been around the league, the NFL, Division I athletes, Division II and Division III. So getting their help would be a huge help for our program and our business.
And that's something you wouldn't turn away. You wouldn't turn away a signature athlete to further your business.
No, yeah, we would be glad to have them.
Rita brings up an interesting point. Like, how do you scale this thing? Like, I mean, are you going to leverage influencers, or how do you market something like this? How do you replicate? I mean, or is that not even an objective? In other words, how are you defining success for this?
Yeah. So our company, you know, we want to get it to as many athletes as possible. You know, we don't want to be just to my Rice Lake High School. We want to be across the world, and that's a goal of mine, to just influence a lot of these young kids that are going on the wrong path, and to get them on the right path. Obviously, we have to start out small. We start out with maybe just my high school, and then if we get with a leader of a different high school, then they can keep going. But it's going to start with just my high school, and then continuing to Oak Grove High, maybe with some athletes here that work with them. So we have to keep on growing.
We got time for maybe one more question.
You know I have other questions. Okay. I'm a little confused about the curriculum, leadership skills, you got that. Charisma, you way got that. But how about, curricula? We're academicians and we understand it, and most things pattern and focus. Chris alluded to this earlier. What's your patterning? Can you articulate and then follow through with a core curriculum?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want to have like a baseline of like where we want these athletes to be at, and we want to implement that right away. Obviously, when they go below the market, we're not going to just quit on them, because our model is to go after everybody and not to quit on anybody. So our goal is just to get them back up to that core curriculum that we have set, whether it's a 3.0 GPA, whether it's to help them stay on track of getting the practices, not missing any practices, just any kind of hard work that we're going to instill in these young athletes.
Thank you, Avery. Appreciate it. Our next presenter is Blake Nguyen, a junior finance major.
Good evening. My name is Blake Nguyen, and tonight I will be representing BBG Insurance. Now, bear with me as we go through some statistics. In 2016, there was $1 billion worth of ransomware attacks. In 2017, there was a 600% increase in data breaches, with $3.62 million per data breach. Now, the most common used password in 2017 was 123456. Now, while you laugh, everybody else just used the word password as their password. In 2019, 43% of the cyber attacks were on small businesses, and 60% of those small businesses went bankrupt within 6 months of that attack. In 2021, we are expecting to see $6 trillion worth of cybersecurity damages, and 3.5 million professional cybersecurity jobs empty. This is a problem. BBG Insurance is the solution. BBG Insurance is an agency that specializes in cybersecurity insurance and partners with a firm, a computer firm, that specializes in cybersecurity and comes with a threefold approach. One, a risk audit, where you go in and you compare the practices of this company and their cyber security with standards. Two, a risk reduction solution, where you bring those practices up to par with the standards that are needed to be met. Three, a cybersecurity financial protection solution that falls within the balance of the price range of the company, as well as falls in line with the risk reduction solution. Now remember, $6 trillion worth of damages, and BBG Insurance is the solution. Thank you.
So you didn't talk about any type of actuary rate, which is interesting, to be an insurance company. So what's your research told you about your claims rate that you would have for your target market?
Not necessarily the insurance agency is what I'm trying to start. The insurance company is what I'll be selling for. So the insurance agency will be that salesmanship or that sales partnership with a company. And the rates that come with it come with that company that they're giving to us.
Okay, so technically it's two separate firms then?
Yes, sir.
All right, so then are you presenting both of them, or are you already thinking of an existing underwriter or insurance company that already exists?
There are a few other insurance companies that do exist, cybersecurity insurance companies that do exist, located in northern Mississippi. There's one in Tennessee, there's one in Alabama, but they're not very big yet. And so I think that with an agency, you could help them grow.
Okay, so you don't absorb any type of claim risk because you're just the marketing agency for an external underwriter. Is that correct?
Correct. That also partners with a computer firm that it professions and is very good with their cybersecurity.
Okay, so talk about that some then, because you're not going to absorb any of that risk. The claim risk is deferred. It's a different company.
Correct. Yes, sir.
So then, if I'm going to be candid, what do you care? Because you're not absorbing any of that risk. So why is your partnership with a computer firm helping you at all?
Well, necessarily, if you bring those two together, it's just helping another business grow as well. It's just
To perform those security audits, but they're giving the audit to the underwriter though, correct? Because you're not absorbing any of that.
In a sense, yes, that is correct. And cybersecurity, if we partner with a cybersecurity firm that's good with their cybersecurity, then it makes it easier on us to sell, because when I go up to somebody and I try to sell them the insurance, I can also say, also, we partner personally with a security firm or a cybersecurity firm that will help you with the risk audit and the risk reduction solution. So therefore, we can bring them in with us, and it becomes part of our package deal that we're providing to them.
Okay, so this computer security company is not assessing the amount of risk that you're absorbing. Instead, they're telling the prospect, hey, look at all the holes that we found. You may want to consider cyber security insurance.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir. That's exactly correct.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna jump back in then. So then, okay, now that I understand the business model, okay, it makes a little more sense. Discuss scaling that type of model, because you're doing a very specific niche service, and how do you replicate that very specific thing that you're doing, both geographically and technologically?
That's actually an incredible question. So with the statistic, the third statistic that I talked about in 2019, talked mainly about small businesses. And there are a lot of small businesses here in Hattiesburg in general that don't have major IT departments, and their cybersecurities necessarily won't be up to par with what needs to be and what the standard is. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is those are the people that I'm targeting at first. And then eventually, as I grow with these smaller businesses, it will grow into the major businesses around me.
So will this be more of a consulting firm? And if so, what would the management team look like?
More of a consulting firm. Necessarily, that won't be falling under my head. The consulting firm will be more of what the computer firm, the computer industry does, the cybersecurity industry that I work with and partner with. That'll be more under the lines of them, because they're the ones that are professional at teaching people about cybersecurity and helping their equipment up to par, as I said before, with the standards. So the consulting will fall underneath strictly them, while I'm the one helping with the package deal.
Blake, help me understand something, having read this and then having heard your very professional, very polished pitch. Help me understand how you don't get drummed out of the middle of this deal.
That's an incredible question. And I've thought a lot about this, and I've thought a lot about, is this something that I just want to raise up to the point where the assets outreach the liabilities and then sell this, or is this something that I want to continue to grow and grow and grow and see how big it can really get? And I think, to your question, is the exit strategy necessarily would be to grow the assets as much as possible, to overweigh the liabilities, and then to sell this company to any other industry that would be desiring of the company.
I deeply admire your framing on that, but I didn't hear an answer to my question.
Do you mind maybe rewording?
I completely loved your response because it sounded grand. But you have, so far, you have the insurance company that's going to cover the functions that Chris and I were initially worried about, the indemnification of the product you're selling. It's a huge, lots of zeros problems, and cities, counties, everybody gets in the middle of it. So identifying the problem is gorgeous, but so far I see layers of delegation in the execution of your company, and I'm concerned as your pretend hired for the low price of no dollars business counselor that you are going to get traded out of the middle, that the cybersecurity analyst function could be handled by the computer company, and the insurance people are then indemnifying the holes and the problems that they found. You've mentioned several times in your visit with us that you're the selling a selling arm of this. How are you, in a couple of years of ramping this, not gonna disappear because they quote unquote Walmart you?
That's an incredible question, and the answer is somewhat simple. Cybersecurity insurance is very good at their insurance. They're very, very good with their insurance. You come over here to the computer, the cybersecurity the company, they're very good at placing the reduction solutions. They're very good at the risk audits. And then they need someone with the sales position, someone who's really good with the sales. Now you can put everything together, but in order to be an incredible necessarily a one market product, then you've got to just focus on that one thing. And these companies, if they try to pull in all three or they try to pull in one, they're going to start to outbalance themselves. And I am going to be that person who's going to be the seller for this company. So I have an industry here, an industry here, and an industry here, and they're all going to continue to grow as they become excellent in what they're doing. I hope that made a little more sense. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, in terms of the initial pitch, your initial pitch could basically be, I'm trying to be the nationwide guy of cyber. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're a sales agency. You're an insurance sales agency, but instead of doing home, life, or medical, you're doing tech or
Yes,
cyber.
sir.
Yeah. And so then okay, now I understand it. I know exactly what you're trying to do. And in terms of the exit, I happen to actually agree. Like, there's some folks that have done very well for themselves because they built a portfolio and then sold that portfolio. So, I mean, I totally get all of it except for one part. You talked about the assets outweighing the liabilities. What are your liabilities under your current model?
The liabilities will fall underneath any kind of payments that I need to make, any things that when it comes to the management, what they need to purchase in order to help the company run. I mean, your liabilities are your accounts payable, your notes payable, anything that we have that we're going to owe. To start off a company, we're going to have to talk to an insurance company. To start off an agency, we've got to talk to an insurance company and have them provide money for us to be able to start this. Have them provide people, have them teach us. And then we become a little more in debt and have accounts payable that we need to pay off. So then we work on selling and selling and selling to the point where our assets are higher than what we owe, and then we sell.
Okay, I think that's it. Well done, Blake. Okay, next up we have Max Callahan, who's a business major here at Southern Miss, and Dex Hughes, who's an anthropology grad from Millsaps.
Hello, my name is Michael Callahan. This is my partner Dex Hughes, and we're the creators of LastPack, the last backpack you'll ever need. The problem with backpacks currently available is that they always come in a predetermined configuration, which may not suit your individual needs. LastPack aims to change that. Our modular design is specifically created so that you can customize your backpack for whatever you may need. It'll be the last backpack you'll ever own.
Since no other backpack on the market offers this level of customization, our product can perform to the needs of its user better than any other. We initially intend to hit the outdoor enthusiast and young professional market simply to play on our product strength of it being so versatile and being able to change between markets. Profit comes from selling the components individually, as well as in bundles and in pre-configured sets that include all necessary components to do things like go to school, go to the office, go camping, etc. We can make pretty much any pouch or setup you can conceivably want based on level of interest. A few examples would be a camping set or a laptop pouch, as you see here, or a dry bag pouch.
We've already had significant interest from multiple groups of potential stakeholders. As a result, we have already applied for a patent. The version 1 prototype you see before you is currently patent pending. However, we already have plans for improvements for a version 2 prototype. that is currently in the works. Again, my name is Mike Callahan, and my partner Dex Hughes. We're here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Would you mind speaking to the patent? Like, what type of patent is this, and what exactly is it that you got, that you're perceiving to get patent protection on?
Well, we've got the actual documentation here. It's a provisional patent at the moment.
This happens to be in your backpack, right?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
We built a working prototype. He's been testing it here on campus for the past X weeks now.
I've been using the prototype here on campus for the past 2 or 3 weeks now. And as I said, we already have plans for improvements based on that initial testing.
But it's a provisional application for patent, and it's been filed, so we are now legally allowed to say it's patent pending. And we're going to move on into the later stages of getting, what's the next stage called after provisional patent? I forget what it was. But we're moving through those steps. We gotta figure out how to change the patent as we upgrade the model, and we're, patented we've patented the specific product itself, patented a little bit of the concept as well, and also as well as our logo, which that's not the best version of our logo, but we're trying to cover all our bases as far as we can with the patent, as far as the patent is concerned.
Which your provisional is on what exactly? The fact, like, for example, your patent is pursuing protection on a modular backpack? Like, what is the thing that you're trying to get patent protection on?
The patent, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, is on the fact that this backpack is fully modular. All of this, every single one of these pouches can be removed.
Yep,
It is entirely modular. If you don't want a computer pouch, you don't have to have it. If all you want is a pencil pouch and a water bottle pouch, you can do it. I don't know why you would, but you could.
That's what.
Okay, so you're trying to pursue protection on a backpack that can be, constructed on the fly, or deconstructed on the fly?
Exactly.
Okay, so then, if that's the case, then what is binding these different modules? What's the proper terminology? Is it a module, an accessory, like what do you,
I call it a component,
a
but
component? Okay, so then how is it being attached that would keep it from falling off just in transit?
well, I can show you. The simple pencil pouch comes off the easiest. It just snaps on, and for these larger ones, it actually weaves through the system. There's these rows on either side, and it weaves going down so that you have multiple points of contact to spread out stress. We're pursuing the same thing for version 2, but we're going to upgrade the look, and it's going to look a bit different while still maintaining the same functionality. This version is really how the military has a lot of their personalized gear set up, but we want to move away from that. We just started here because we knew it worked this way, but now we've got a really good idea of how to make version 2 work the same way, but just look a little bit better.
What would the pricing be for a bundle and the separate components?
Well, we're, again, working on a version 2 prototype, so what you see here may not necessarily reflect what our pricing at the end of the day is. Manufacturing may also play into that as well. But at our current estimation, the base of the backpack itself is the most expensive, and it comes in at about a $40 price range. The larger pouches will run somewhere in about 20, and then the smaller ones run about 6. And bundle-wise, it would just depend on what's in the bundle. And
We call this the school bundle because realistically, it's everything you need to go to school with.
what you see here would be priced at just under $100, about $98, give or take.
You said 98 would be the price to the customer?
Yes.
Okay, so if it's 98, then what is it costing you to make?
Give us just a second.
He's got
I
his numbers.
have my numbers written out here. Because it cost us somewhere in the area for us personally to produce this prototype, which granted, remember, we were buying these at your local fabric store,
Yeah.
so prices were significantly higher. we came in at about $80, which should obviously get cut when you go into manufacturing. We are expecting, given numbers that we have heard and our current research, we're expecting the production cost of what you see here to come in at somewhere around $40, $50 for all of us.
This is after scale benefits, if we could be at 40. Did I understand you correctly?
Can you repeat?
So after you buy at volume, you'll be able to get your unit variable cost down to about 40. Is that what you said?
Yeah, about somewhere between 40 and 50.
Could you pick up the backpack, please?
Yeah, sorry we didn't get to do as much in the actual, that's a good front view. And obviously the version 2 prototype is going to be much cleaner, crisper. We just want to make sure we had a good working version 1. But every single one of these components can be taken off till you're left with nothing but this core base plate. And you can put any of these on there. They do not have to attach in this order at all. This is actually the first pouch we made, and it was too big for our purposes, and so we decided to, not use it. But it ended up being very useful as something we could go around and use to do that. So
it's become the MVP of the presentations here.
Yes, but the version 2, we thought a good deal about, and finally figured out a way to make things look much crisper, cleaner. This one's worked. I mean, you've had good performance with it these past few weeks.
Yeah, like I said, I've actually tested this around campus using it. Actually, my laptop's in there, so please don't drop it. But oh, please no. But I've used it around, and it has worked very well. Again, it has some improvements that need to be made, but that's to be expected out of a version 1 prototype. But the improvements that need to be made, nothing drastic, nothing just absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
It's been
The core concept.
I could use this as a backpack throughout college easily.
You've got your prototype, congratulations. You have a provisional patent, double congratulations, and you have some numbers with the disclaimer. So here's my question. You've got all of these things, you've defined your market, and I like the idea of modular, but are you going to express yourselves as the working man's black ember? That's the one that's hot rolling right now. Are you going to get an analysis? Who's are the guys I like? I like Gear Patrol. They'll give you a countdown on all of the elements that you mentioned. What are you going to do, in other words, to pull this product from where it is right now to the sales floor or to the sales individual if you're going to do a direct to client?
We are actually currently, you work with the Small Business Development Center right over there next door. We are actually working with someone in your office right now who is helping guide us in the areas we are not necessarily experts in, because I do not claim to be an expert in some of these areas by any stretch of the imagination. But our first thing is that obviously we have some improvements to make before.
We want to nail our prototype.
We want to make sure that this is truly the last backpack you will ever own. And to do that, it needs a few improvements. After that, we are looking into mass production of the different components. And from there, we plan on doing an online sell.
And
We're going to sell the product online.
We're going to do market research to see
We
what components.
We have market research, that kind of thing
and-
planned. We just, have not gotten quite to that stage yet. That's next on our list of things to do.
What's going to be your top 3? You've got your school bundle. What are the other 2?
Well, let's see. The school bundles first. I'm just curious how much I want to give away. School bundles first because that was obviously the most prudent for him to have. My prototype, which is version 2, will be what I build next. That will probably be something tailored for going to the office and going to work. The next, I'm also a big outdoorsman, and that's where a lot of my experience with packs and gear comes from. So I will likely build the third model as a pretty heavy-duty outdoor kit, one that can trim down to just the school kit, but it can also be built up to a pretty heavy-duty outdoors kit. And you know, the components are gonna vary. There's some standards that you can obviously stick to that everyone uses, but those are three of the big ones right now. But since it's the last pack and since it's fully modular, you know, really we can take this in any direction that we want. And you can use the pouches for whatever you want. Some people have mentioned this pencil pouch, which is what I designed it to be. He uses for sunglasses. Some people can use it for makeup.
My Ray-Ban case is in there right now, actually.
Yeah, so endless possibilities. We feel like with what we can make for it, and just based off what people want.
We got time for maybe one more quick question.
I have another question.
So other backpacks have been known to cause back pains. How do you guys see y'all's backpack in that instance?
Yes, that is definitely where my experience in that field comes from. I used to sell, in college I worked for the Boy Scouts to sell and sold backpacks, high-end ones. It has an adjustable, what I call a yoke, and what other backpacks sometimes call a yoke, that can be pulled out and raised and lowered to fit your torso length. This one's a little small for him. I built it up in Jackson and it was built for my frame, but it does have padding in the back, and that's something that when you get the product, you have a little instructional there that says this is how you wear it, this is how you adjust it, this is how you fit it to your back. You can press these little straps up here to manage the weight distribution. We're going to improve the padding in the straps so that it gets spread out better. Probably also end up making some belts that you can attach so that you can rest it above your hips like you're actually supposed to if you're doing heavy-duty outdoors work. But he can tell you I'm a broken record on that. I've done a lot of heavy-duty hiking with heavy packs, so I will not let a prototype go out that's going to cause back pain. I'm going to be very explicit on how to wear this and what to do with it.
We're out of time now. Thank you, Michael and Dex. Our final presenter tonight is Samuel Summerall, a senior marketing major.
My name is Sam Summerall. I'm here to present Business Shield Education and Business Solutions. Right here, what you see is our desk shields. As we know, coronavirus has significantly affected all of our lives. It's changed the way we've done everything. As you see, we're all wearing masks here today. It's changed the way we do life, and in the most important way, it's changed the way we do education. As we all know, as many of us are college students or have some sort of relation to education, whether it be online classes, having to wear a mask here in school, things like this, education has become a lot more difficult. It has become a lot different than what it used to be. Over this summer, I work at an elementary school and a high school. I was working with some of the administration at our school trying to figure out how we could figure out a solution. We wanted desk shields because we wanted our students not to have to sit behind the shield all day, sit behind a mask all day long, and to be able to take that mask off at different times during the day. And we came up with this design right here. We looked online, and plexiglass shields were very expensive. Many of the designs were not as good, and we decided that we would make them ourselves. We got very good at making these. These are polycarbonate shields. They have sanded edges, rounded corners, clips on the bottom to contain them. But one of the best things about our product is that we can make them for all different types of tables, desks, things like this. They're customizable. We can make them for round tables, rectangular tables, and give the maximum amount of protection as possible. And we can make them very quickly. One thing that is worth considering, it takes around $1,000 to protect a single football player on a football team. It takes $25 to protect a teenager with one of these shields, one single teenager. If you want to protect your whole school, this is the best way to go about it. If we're willing to spend that kind of money to protect a football team, a basketball team, something like that, it's worth the money to be able to protect our students. We believe that we have the best product on the market, and we can help control the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you.
So I'm conflicted. On the one hand, you clearly are addressing a problem, so kudos to that.
Yes.
On the other hand, how in the world do you keep this to be a sustainable business? Like, I mean, what would prevent just a 3M from pricing you out of existence and your company's gone in no time?
That's fair enough. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's a lot of online providers that are making these right now. The online market is catching them, and that's a fact. But the deal is with this material that we're using, we're still competitive pricing-wise, even with the big companies like 3M who are starting to produce shields like this. What they cannot offer that we can offer is the ability to fit any desk that a school may have, to fit any lunch table that they may have, to fit any circular table, teacher's desk. We can provide shields for all different sizes of surfaces and provide professional selling, personal selling that they can't do. We can go out to the schools, talk to them, and be able to provide them with replacements if they need it, insurance policies, things like this, give them the customer service that 3M cannot produce at a similar price. They've produced many of these things at $15, $20 a piece. We're producing them at the same rates. So we can compete with them all day long pretty much, and we feel confident in our ability to do that.
What is the turnaround time for ordering?
We can make 5 shields a minute. So if you want a whole school district done within a week, that would be very easy. We can produce 300 an hour. So these shields, we can produce them very quickly, and that's only with 6 people producing. It's 5 a minute. So we produce them in as short amount of time as you need them, and we can get those to you in a very quick amount of time. If schools were to get on board over this Christmas break, we could have those starting at the beginning of this next semester pretty easily for them with the amount of time that we have.
What's your cost to manufacture and your price that you're selling for?
Yes, sir. So there are 4 base sizes, 4 base different shields that we produce. This is a teenager adult shield. Okay, so this is going to be about $25. Now, those prices are going to vary with the price of polycarbonate as that goes up and down. The cost to produce this is $12.50. So we double basically the price for these, but we have that room to be able to come down off of it when someone buys in bulk. That's one of our things that we do offer. If a whole school district were to buy these, we'd come down. For a child's shield, it's going to be $20 because it's going to be less material. It costs us $10 to make. For a circular table divider, it's going to be $50, and for a rectangular table divider, it's going to be around $60. And each one of those, the circular costs $25 to produce, and the rectangular shield costs $30 to produce.
Okay, very impressive, Samuel. Thank you so much, because of course this is foremost on our minds, and I'm on the Chris camp again. Thank you for a stellar solution to an obvious problem. 2 things I'm concerned about as your pretend business counselor. One is what's the transport thing going to be? When this, you mentioned we could have every school district covered if they got on board. You got your purchase order. You could have them good to go by the middle of January. Like, let's just choose the state of Mississippi. How's it going to get there? What kind of training are you going to have to do? Help me understand how that's going to work.
For sure. And are you asking how are we going to get the product to the customers more so? Okay. Thankfully, just with my people that I know, resources of my own, we have the ability, trailers, trucks, all sorts of things to be able to get these out very quickly. Hopefully, if we were to start producing for many school districts, something like that, we would be hiring people to help work for us as well, because the profit margin is good, and we would be able to help pay people to be able to help us out to transport to different schools and things like this. They're easily transportable though. You can stack about 100 of these into one stack and put them on a truck. and be able to.
Without damage.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, they do not come like this. When they're transported, they have a sheet of protective paper on them that keep them from scratching up or anything. And another thing about polycarbonate, which speaks to the sustainability of the business, is it's a very good material and actually has bulletproof properties. It's a very strong material, better than plexiglass, and when you bend it, it gets stronger. In the future, if you thicken these up a little bit, these things add another layer to the business that can be very successful. Polycarbonate is a remarkable material, and we hope that's going to allow us to be able to do a lot with it in the future.
So let's say that a vaccine comes out. Does your business have a pivot plan?
A vaccine comes out? Absolutely. With the coronavirus pandemic, we know that some people are taking it extremely seriously, and then some people really, frankly, just don't care at all. You have a lot of different types of people in this country who feel different ways about it. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of people in this country who are not going to want to take a vaccine. There's a lot of people who are not going to feel comfortable with that, especially in the first few years where it's coming out. So there's still going to be a large window where there's going to be a lot of people who are not vaccinated, and we can sell these retail. So if a parent does not feel comfortable with their child going to school, they can buy these individually for their child, even if a whole school district doesn't feel comfortable buying a whole lot of the Visit Shields. So we believe that this will go on for many years, and by the time that we get to where we're confident with the coronavirus pandemic, we can make a lot of different other glass products out of this because we have the capabilities of transitioning into new products as time goes on. But this is like a springboard into those other products. So this is the starter point, and we believe we'll have a good window of at least a year or two before everybody's comfortable taking vaccines, things like that, where these will be very helpful for schools.
I love the question that was just asked because this whole time I'm thinking you're going to cease to exist when either China comes after this or there's a readily available mass-produced vaccine.
Right.
That's why I get so conflicted because it's brilliant in the short term. In the long term, I just don't think it's viable. But you said something really interesting. You said that this was a springboard into other stuff. So I have to speak to that. How does that work? You're just going to pocket the revenue and then do other stuff? Like, what do you mean?
Yes, sir. I mean, no matter what, whether the coronavirus pandemic happened or not, there's other uses for things like this. This is what we use to make all of our different kinds of signs and different things like that out of. Any kind of outdoor sign, something like that, this is what this is made of. So also in grocery stores, in department stores, places like that, you see many different items, fixtures, things like that are made out of materials such as this. So I believe, yes, the springboard, in the beginning, the revenue from using this to protect us with coronavirus will allow us to develop more solutions surrounding glass, surrounding these kind of materials in the near future. And who knows what the next problem might be in the future. There's actually a patent that expired this last year for a polycarbonate desk shield that was bulletproof for school shooters. And that patent expired. So, with that being said, it obviously shows that 20 years ago, something like this was in market. So, in 20 more years, hopefully, there will be something else that we can use this same kind of technology for, and our company will be able to provide a solution to someone.
Let's talk about your supply chain for your key product. Any anxieties there? Do you have a variety of providers?
Yes, ma'am. For the first batch, so the first batch we did was for my previous elementary school, high school, and it was more on a donation basis than a profit basis, just because that was my alumnus, and that's what, and in the future, we hope to be able to produce for more schools, but we use a plastics glass supplier in Texas who is still selling large amounts of this product. We plan to, if we were to get some traction, to buy a very, very, very large amount of the materials to be able to supply us for the future, to be able to hold on to those. Obviously, there are other people producing similar products online, things like this. So the polycarbonate is out there to be had, and we have, I believe, plenty of suppliers out there to be able to help us out with that. We have the warehouse available to store it, and we have the machinery to get started. Soon, we would like to improve the capital capacity where we can produce more units per minute and hopefully expand our production.
Improve the capital capacity. Sounds like a fancy way of saying raising funds. Is that what we're talking
Sorry.
about? You said improving your capital capacity, which I guess that means raising money?
Yes, sir. I mean, it would be no, it would be more to put more money into our materials and also our machinery to be able to produce more in the future.
Where's that money coming from?
Hopefully from our beginning sales of what we can produce with what we have right now with our machinery, being able to produce 5 per minute, 300 an hour will allow us very soon to be able to turn the profits necessary to buy more machinery, more materials in the future and to expand.
One more question from the judges?
How much you got into it right now? You are passionate, you are devoted, you're committed. How many American dollars have you spent on this?
Personally, I'm not spending any American dollars. At this point, we've had investors and people who have been willing to help us out in the very beginning stages of this. Once it picks up traction, hopefully they will want to get more involved as well. So far, really have not had to spend too much of my own money. We've been able to be very fortunate to be able to produce for our own school without having to spend a whole lot of money. In the future, I'm sure, I'll be having to pour some of my own money into it, but I'm willing to do that with the returns of good profit.
Okay, one more question. Are you going to give me
I'm
that?
afraid we're out
How
of time.
much have they invested?
To make the first, we made close to 400 for the first batch. I went to a small school, so we made about 400 to start, and it costs, we can make 5 child shield out of 1 sheet. Each sheet, it costs us around close to about $15,000 to $20,000 in the beginning up front to make for 1 school. But you turn those profit. Once you sell those, you double that profit right back.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Thank you.
So judges, we're about to steal you out of the room, but all of you get an opportunity here to sit in the judge's seat. In addition to the cash prizes, we have a fan favorite or People's Choice Award tonight with a really sweet Chick-fil-A basket for the winner. It's not $1,000, but you have a say in who gets that spicy chicken sandwich with pepper jack cheese, right? So you get to choose. So if you wouldn't mind putting on the screen the instructions, do we have that? Here we go. So get out your smartphones, open up your camera, point it at the screen. You should be close enough that it'll automatically give you the opportunity to open up that link. Judging is open right now, and will be open for the next few minutes. Yes, even contestants can vote for themselves if you really want that Chick-fil-A. So judges, if you wouldn't mind following me.
We give up our time, right?
What's that?
Yeah, you gotta give the mic, I'm sorry.
So while the judges are conferring, we have the privilege of recognizing our Entrepreneur of the Year, the College of Business and the Business Advisory Council's Entrepreneur of the Year. And as I mentioned earlier, the Entrepreneur of the Year Award was created to recognize and celebrate successful entrepreneurs and emphasize our focus on entrepreneurship as an academic endeavor here in the college. The celebrated entrepreneur is selected using several different criteria: entrepreneurial spirit, strategic direction, impact, innovation, and integrity. Well, tonight's honoree checks all of those boxes and more. It's my pleasure to introduce Rodney Richardson, founder of Hattiesburg-based agency Rare Design, as our 2020 Entrepreneur of the Year. Rodney, a Southern Miss alumnus, is one of the country's foremost storytellers for professional sports franchises. After working for Nike for several years, Rodney opened Rare Design in Hattiesburg in 1999 and has helped organizations develop their branding and tell their stories ever since. You've probably seen the results of his work, as his clients include the likes of the Atlanta Hawks, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Houston Texans, the Charlotte Hornets, the Sacramento Kings, NASCAR, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Milwaukee Brewers, and our Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Rodney is known for his creativity, determination, ingenuity, and integrity throughout the industry and the community. Not only is Rodney a great example of entrepreneurial success, he's an exceptional person who gives of himself to the local community and even the world through his support of ministries in Uganda. So I'm honored and privileged to introduce Rodney Richardson as the 2020 Entrepreneur of the Year. Before I present Rodney with the award and allow him to make remarks, a few of his colleagues would like to say a few words.
Rodney is the epitome of a creative genius and a leader.
And I can't think of anyone more deserving of this award than Rodney Richardson.
But there's one word that sums up Rodney for me, and that's trust.
Rodney's just a terrific guy and is known all over the world as one of the top designers.
You are, without a doubt, the coolest, baddest man in South Mississippi.
I'm incredibly blessed to have had you as a boss and as a friend.
How you do your work has touched and inspired countless people in ways of even greater value.
It's just been an honor to follow along on your journey since we started working together 25 years ago.
Thank you so much for everything that you've done for us, for capturing the spirit and the essence of this place that you do so well for your clients.
Thanks the Lord for each and everything He's using you to do in Uganda.
He has given us a point of view and a vision by which we could not replicate. And because of that, we're thankful.
It's an honor to consider you a friend.
Be blessed, brother, we love you.
Come on up. It's
That was
my
tough, man.
honor to present you as our Entrepreneur of the Year.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. That's pretty overwhelming. Seeing those people, people that I love, people that I've grown to love and build really strong relationships with over the years and have done some amazing stuff with. That's huge, huge. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Beckman, Dr. Tisdale, wherever JT is, and that's probably, it felt weird when I said that on the video I recorded a few days ago, and it felt just as weird just now, because these guys, this is Brett and JT, you know, that's how I know them, and they're friends, they're buddies, they're guys that I've had, again, great opportunities to build relationships with. Some of those have started just through paths of life, some have started in business. I met Brett when we were working together on the rebrand for Oak Grove Schools. And he was on the team that we were working with, and through that, we started a friendship and have been friends ever since. I mean, it extended well beyond the work that we got to do together. With JT, our boys were coming up in scouts together, and so there are lots of stories there. He actually reminded me of one the other day when he said, I still remember my most valuable lesson learned from Rodney. We were at a scout meeting. I think JT was our leader at the time, our scoutmaster. And he said, I was sick of dealing with the main office, and I was complaining, and you calmly said, JT, we can only control ourselves. We can only control what we do for our kids. And he said that, so basically what he heard, when I said, stop worrying about them, let's just do what's right for our kids. And he said, what he heard was me saying, stop fussing. And, but it was part of that, but it was actually a little bit more, because that's a lesson that I learned here. That's something that I started learning here when I was at Southern Miss. And it kind of comes from a time when I was being challenged to push myself by some of my instructors. I was absolutely not a very great or exemplary student by any means. At this time, when one of my professors, my advisor, called me in to meet with me, and he saying, you are the most frustrating kind of student. He's like, if I could just chain your leg to the desk, if you would just come to class, if you would do the work, I think you can make something of yourself. And while nobody really wants to hear that, I needed to hear that. And what I heard was his care. What I heard was his passion. What I heard was this thing that he saw in me that I didn't even see in myself. Something that I didn't believe in myself, something that I didn't know was there, but he seeded that in me, that maybe there was something there. Now, by the time we had that conversation, it was a little bit too late, almost, because I ended up on academic suspension for a little while. But that got me thinking, and I ended up in a situation, ended up in a place, got in a job on campus at the Campus Micro Center, and got to do a little bit of work, got to do a project that I actually saw get a little bit of success. It got some positive feedback, some things started happening, and that's where this lesson, this kind of just clicked in my head. It's like, you know what? I am responsible for myself. I'm responsible because of all the stuff that I've just gone through, the way that I've been acting in school, all this stuff, and I was trying, how am I going to dig out of this hole? And then this project had come along and it was successful. And I realized what people think when they hear my name, that's up to me. What do I want them to feel? What's the character that I want them to know when they hear my name or our work or anything that I'm doing? What is that? I'm responsible for myself, the impact for what people are going to think when they hear that. Not my past, not those mistakes, not my family, not any of these things. What I do now, what I do every day, how I treat people, how I am, that's up to me. And I'm responsible for that, and I can impact that. And that kind of got me thinking about some other points that I've kind of picked up and I want to share tonight. So, you're responsible for yourself, and then what that video did is just so amazing. And I think it comes out of this point, this kind of dual-edged point, and it's to mind your relationships. All of those people, they're tremendous people. I'm so blessed to have been able to call them friends for a long time, to work with them. Obviously, you saw those organizations, tremendous organizations. They're great people. And what we tried to do, what I've learned is you got to mind your relationships, all right? And I spell it kind of weird. It's like M-I-N, and then I put an E in parentheses, and then a D, because there's two kinds there. Number one, you have to mind your relationship like you're seeking for treasure, because they are that special and they are that valuable, and you have to seek them out, and you have to treat them for the value that they have. Everybody that you work with, employees, vendors, customers, whatever your entrepreneurial endeavor is, you have to mine those relationships. And then as you're building them, you have to take care of them. You have to mind them with the D. You're like a caretaker, a gardener. You have to nurture them and grow them. Be authentic with people. Be real with people. Those relationships are what has grown over the years. Look, we've cold called, we've done every kind of gimmick you can imagine to try to get business, to try to grow our businesses. Over the years, we have Rare and the bakery building and the venue and Dembe Ministries in Uganda. We have a children's home and family care ministry there, and we've got these different things that are going on. And, they've all come from one relationship that leads to another relationship that leads to another relationship. That's where the value from those relationships has come from, when people are willing to spread your name to other people. And that's been huge. I think another point is you gotta have grit. You gotta have determination. You gotta be willing to stick through the tough times, because they are coming. They will happen. Nobody can avoid them. It's coming, and you've got to have that determination to stick it through. When all of your energy is going after it and you realize that all you're doing is treading water, that's great. Do it. Tread water. That's making progress, because a lot of people are sinking, and you got to stick with it. And I think any leadership book, any good leadership book or entrepreneurial endeavor book, and how to be an entrepreneur, how to build a business, how to do whatever. I mean, you look at it, there's one constant that I see from some of the best speakers and authors, and it's always, you gotta have that kind of determination. You gotta have grit to stick it through, to persevere. Another point is you can never forget who you are, okay? The character and the values that have been instilled in you. This is a lesson. I was flying one time, and the story that goes along with all of these. I was flying with a guy. He was our sports marketing counterpart when I was at Nike. And I don't know if you guys know this guy. His name is Martin Newton. His dad is C.M. Newton, legendary athletic director at the University of Kentucky and coach at Alabama and first president of USA Basketball, put together the original Dream Team, all these things. Well, Martin and I were going on this trip, and we were laughing. We were poking a little bit of fun at ourselves, because here you've got Nike, this behemoth of this athletics company, sending to meet with the NBA, the perennial organization in the world of basketball, in the world, and then, sending to New York, of all places, this hillbilly from Kentucky and this redneck from Mississippi. What are they thinking? And while we're having fun with that, Martin got this really serious look on his face, and he said, "Let me tell you something. Don't ever forget who you are." He said, "I've seen too many kids come through here, and they're embarrassed to be from the South, and they try to hide their accent. They try to hide where they're from. They try to become something that they're not, and they flounder." He said, it's special. We're blessed to be from the part of the world where we are. Stand on that. Be that." And he goes, "Look, we're going to walk into a meeting sometime, and you're going to open your mouth, and people are going to hear that accent, and they're not going to be able to hide it on their face." He goes, "That's fine, because by the time they realize you know what you're talking about, you've already got them. You've won." And that's true. That's happened before. And a couple of things that Mark told me that day. Another time he said, "You'll probably be in a meeting one day, and you'll start talking, and somebody will go, 'Why in the hell are we talking to somebody from Mississippi?'" And I thought, man, that'll never happen. But it did. When we were working on the Memphis Grizzlies, the first time I ever presented to Michael Heisley, who was the owner at that time, when I started talking, he did exactly that. He stopped the presentation, he looked at the guy beside him, he goes, "Where's this guy from?" And he said, "He's from Hattiesburg, Mississippi." And he said, "Why in the hell are we working with somebody from Mississippi?" And I said, "I'm glad you asked that. I've got this great answer. I've been prepared for this for years." And I went through it, and I talked about grit, and I talked about all these things we're talking about here. And he said, "I love it. Let's go." And that's what I've found. Like, these relationships have all been forged because of just being who I'm created to be and doing the things that I've been blessed with, the passions and some talent and great people around me to be able to do. And that's what people are looking for. That's what they want. They want that kind of authenticity. They want you, it's refreshing. It's special out there. And a lot of people don't realize. They think they have to look this certain way or act a way. That's a herd mentality. That's kind of a fear-based mentality. Be who you are. Never forget who you are. And out of that, an extension of that is the next point, which is dare to be different. All right? Now, this is not being different just for the sake of being different. It usually comes back to just be who you are, right? And one of the things that I ask most of our clients and people, I want to get them thinking about this, I ask them, I say, what is it that you've got, right? That if I don't come to you, if I'm your client, if I come to you, I'm not going to get it. So across all of your competitive landscape, what is it that you have that sets you apart? It could be product-based, it could be price, it could be service, it could be your character, your personality, it could be the way you treat people, it could be anything. It could be simply living out the unique attributes of who you are. But what is that thing that sets you apart from the competition? Because when you start to understand that, you're going to find value there, worth, because there are people out there that value that. And those are the people that you're going to have the strongest relationships with, and that you build the most long-lasting relationships with. Those people that value what sets you apart. You have to know that, right? And ultimately, when you think about it, we're all drawn to things that are different, to people that are different, to people that stand out, to people who confidently know and believe in who they are, and they stand on that. We're drawn to that. Like, how can I do that? Instead of the herd mentality. You know, you can think about if you're in a very still field, a way to visualize this, and this very still field, nothing's blowing, but way off in a distant corner, there's something shimmering and shaking. Where's your eye drawn? It's drawn to that thing that is different, and we're drawn to people that are different. People who are different and are managing their businesses and their relationships in ways that are different. And usually that difference, I'm not kidding, it just comes down to just being real, just being authentic, just being trustworthy, just being an entrepreneur of character. And that's it's a lot more rare than you think out there in that world. Another point that I tell our people all the time, it's a standard that I hold myself to, and it's something that I hold all our people to, and it's something I have to say, you got to know that you know that you know. And know what you don't know, right? And what I mean by that is there are a lot of people who are more than willing to do the minimal amount possible, the minimum amount of work possible to just check something off a list and move on and put it off on somebody else. And sometimes people will come to me and I'm like, all right, I've done this thing, I've worked on this project, and I've done this. I'm like, well, do you know that it's done? Do you know that it's right? Well, yeah, I know, I know that's right. Do you know that you know? And you know that gets them thinking. And did I go through a few of the extra steps? Yeah, I know that I know. I know that I know that it's right. Do you know that you know that you know? Have you done everything? Have you exhausted it? This responsibility was given to you. It's now it's under your name. You're carrying it out. Do you know that you know that you know that you've done everything to bring it to life? You put the work into it. You've done the things like you know. And a lot of times people, let me take it one more time. Yeah. Work on it just a little bit more to figure that out. And that's what people look for. That's what they need. And that's how we build that trust. That's the way that we show care for them and concern for them. And then the last point is something that has been pretty tremendous, and it's led to some amazing things. It also helps us cope with some very difficult things. And it's this point of why not me? Why not me? So instead of saying, why me? Why not me? You know, and we can look at things that are good. I can look at the businesses that we've been able to build. I can look at the relationships that we've been able to build. I can look at the opportunities that we've had, like the opportunity to be in Uganda and build amazing relationships there. And I have 2 kids adopted from them. We have these children in this home, these families that we work with. And, you know, it's not like, why me? Why call me to that? Why call our family to that? Why not me? Like, who am I not to be called to these things? And sometimes it's easy to look at people that get more than us or that fly past us, you know, and that's been a tough thing with that perseverance part, that grit, is there have been many times in the life of our businesses where I've looked at other businesses that just zoom past us. They get all kind of funding and they do all these things, and oh, I get so jealous. I'm going, why not me? But that's not the way I'm saying to ask this question. You know, because I've also seen, like, we're just the little engine that could, you know, trying to get up that hill, and I think I can, and you know, and a lot of times, some of them have continued on in their success, but I've seen a lot of those businesses fizzle out as we just make our way past them. But the why not me also comes with the bad, too. You know, when it is those times when the recession hits, when something happens within your business, struggles that, you know, personally I'm going through now, fighting cancer in the midst of doing these things and trying to do this stuff, and instead of going, why me? I've got to ask, why not me? Who am I to be held exempt from any of these challenges or difficulties? It's life. It's part of it. It's what we've got to do. And that same, so all these points, these relationships, like every one of these people in this video have reached out in ways so far beyond business. You know, I mean, they're friends, they care for us, they care for me, and they've shared that. And that's some of the stuff that is the most rewarding part of entrepreneurship. Is seeing that kind of relationship build, see those things grow, see businesses work, yes, see our work, this thing that we believe in, that we believe that we can do, that Bill Baggett believed that I could do long before I did, and encouraged me to continue on and stick it out and see these things happen, to see these people circle around us and support us and help us personally. Because of a relationship that we ever built through business, man, that's tremendous. So, I'll wrap that up. And this, you know, I guess those points, you know, you are responsible for yourself. Own that. To mind your relationships, you gotta have grit. Never forget who you are. Dare to be different. Know that you know that you know, and be willing to ask yourself, why not me? Thank you.
So normally, we would love to have this auditorium full of people. Last year we had about 120 folks in here, and of course coronavirus got in the way of that, but you got to hear a wonderful message from Rodney, and folks that are watching this live streamed right now will as well. In addition, we have produced a video that's kind of a combination of some of what you've seen tonight and some introductory things that we'll publish on our YouTube channel, I think tomorrow, and share through our social media, so be sure to check that out too, because we want as many people as possible to see what Rodney has done and the wonderful words of encouragement and advice that he's given us tonight. So again, thank you, Rodney, and congratulations.
we get ready to announce the winners, I do want to take a moment for the judges to provide some feedback to the group as a whole. And so, did anybody want to start first on this? And for those of you who did not catch this earlier, Whitney is the first place winner from last year's Golden Idea competition. And so now she's a business counselor for the Small Business Development Center in Jackson. She drove down to be a part of this tonight.
So I would like to say, are they in here or?
They're all right.
I would like to say congratulations. I know how much courage it takes to stand up there and present. I know y'all were probably shaking and sweating, but y'all did an amazing job. And I also want to say, sorry, and whatever you do, just keep that same passion. Y'all had so much passion in y'all's pitches, and it was really exciting to see that. And another thing that would help is whenever you're thinking of your pitch, imagine pitching to a bank. So imagine you're trying to ask somebody for a lot of money. So think about those things and see what you can say to persuade them and be happy to give you money to start your company. Thank you.
Again, I'm going to iterate what Whitney said, congratulations, because this doesn't just take an idea. It takes courage, and then you have to be willing to be laughed at and have, people poke holes in what's going on. This is the life and the spine and the DNA of an entrepreneur, and y'all have got that. We're really, really proud about that. I want to make a pitch to playing things through. Whitney mentioned, think about it with regard to an approach if you were talking to a bank. Take it a little bit further down the pike, and if I were talking to my toughest relative who always dimes out everything, remember that old equation, I need $100. What do you want it for? It's no unless you tell me. I need $100 because I'm trying to. And then play through how it's going to multiply if it's a plan to make money. And that is something that we want to drive home. Do the math, do the math, do the math, do the math. Feasibility, viability, and then sustainability. And then you have that odd little thing in the middle called provenance or validation. And those are processes you hear all about it in Shark Tank, you hear all about it in all of the others. But that's where we would draw you, is run it down to the math, because I love my life as a Pollyanna and as a Disneyland favorite, but it doesn't really play through in my life as a business counselor. So that's where those questions are going to come. The more of them you answer up front, the more likely you are to get funded, period.
Thank you for having the courage just to come up and share something that you care about and you know that it's not a complete finished product. We respect and acknowledge the fact that this is something that's still a work in process. We respect and acknowledge the fact that this is not something that is supposed to be complete. I mean, at the end of the day, several of you have talked about wanting to do this past the competition, which personally excites all three of us as judges, because this isn't just a grade or this isn't just an accolade. It's something that you're taking seriously, and that's why we try to reciprocate by taking it seriously in the form of our questions. So don't think that, man, these questions are hard because they're mean. No, it's not mean, it's because we take you seriously. But to that end, be thinking about the fact that others are going to be taking you seriously as well. So if you decide to move past just this competition and you approach capital in the form of a bank or an investor, so for friends and families, etc., anticipate and desire the hard questions, because it shows that that audience is taking you seriously. They actually are thinking about giving you their hard-earned money or their funds capital, and there's repercussions to that. So the tough questions is a signal that they're taking you seriously. And so try to explain as often as you can. One of the things I would highly recommend doing is, if anywhere around there is an elevator pitch competition, sign up. People don't realize how hard it is to explain your baby in 30 seconds or less. And if you can explain your baby clearly in 30 seconds or less,
people are going to want to adopt it. Thank you. Thank you guys very much. All right, the moment you all been waiting for, right? The moment when you speak. The People's Choice Award goes to the Farmer's Buggy. Come on up. Thank all the people. Yeah, good job, good job. All right. Okay, so maybe this was the moment you were waiting for. So, third place and $250 tonight goes to BBG Insurance. Dr. Beckman, would you like to come up as well? This is more official, right?
He needs 3 of us.
Good job. So you hold on to it. We're going to take it out for photos here in a minute. But that's yours.
Happy to go on.
You, that's it.
Do not try to hang up while they know who that is. Come on. Second place goes to Farmer's Buggy. Awesome. First place goes to VisiShield.
Your eyes are smiling.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you guys for coming and being a part of tonight's celebration. It really is truly a celebration of the efforts that our students have put in. And there's a lot of moments that you're proud of being a Golden Eagle, and this is one of those moments. And so thank you, students, again, for putting in effort and putting in the hard work to be here tonight. Thank you all for coming and being a part of this. And next year, we'll be even bigger, even better, and we're looking forward to that. That's right. No social distancing, hopefully. But again, thank y'all. Y'all have a great night. Thank you for being part of this.